Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Unfiltered Truth in the Morning. I am your host, Phil Robinson. I am waiting on my guest, Mr. Stephen Michaels from the Raiders Daily. So, in the meantime, I'll just take a second, say what's up. Good morning to my peeps. Let y'all know that I am indeed alive, having defeated the One Chip Challenge on the 1K show. And I got to tell you, that thing was hot. That thing was hot. Said, but it wasn't nothing I couldn't handle until it hit the gut. And once it hit the gut, I was like, bruh, it's not going to stay down. But the heat I could take, it was hot. It was hot. Don't ask me to do that again because I won't do it. I'm just not going to. So there's no need. But in today's show, what we have for you is we're going to be talking about the coaching hires, talking about the latest hire, especially, and a little bit of actually some inside information that I was privy to today. So, once again, we're just waiting on Steven to join us before we really get rolling into it. Dre, what's good, man? Tony, as always, you know what it is. Dwayne, we got to get back. We got to get back. I'm waiting for some more USC news to drop so that I can have something to report on and podcasts. So honestly, yeah, that'd be a step down for me. It's not the Scorpion Pepper Reaper combo that I just ate. So, and I have no desire to go higher than what I was already at. None at all. Say we'll have to figure out something. We'll have to figure out something else. L. Hell, listen, I went to war. I battled. Didn't nobody take an L over here. Now my co-host, on the other hand, that man was hard up for the next day. Said that bad. He performed an emergency mission on that toilet. It was bad. What's going on, Linnell? How you doing, boss? Uh Still waiting. Oh yes, Valentine's Day balloons. Had a whole bunch of kids' birthdays. Was this on the show? Yeah, go to the Unfiltered After Dark, the last one, the 1K celebration show, and fast forward to hour number 2. That apparently that's when it all went down. Had all types of stuff happening in hour number 2. Chin was sweating, eyes was sweating. I said my mouth started sweating. That was crazy. You ever had your mouth just start sweating? Just sitting here minding your business and just straight out the mouth. Like I said, bro, it was hot, but I held up though. So we almost hit that in 24 hours. I think in 24 hours we came up maybe like 25 views short. That was a good one. Wild one. Like I said, Unfiltered After Dark, anything can happen. I really try not to moderate that, and even when I try not to moderate it, some shit ends up happening. Never. Never. Ever. There's a little bit more to it than that, but yeah, pretty much. Uh, Pull out the old cell phone and see what we got going on here. Yep, see. Happy Valentine's Day balloons. Good, I can get the stupid cords out of the way. Raiders recently signed Antonio Pierce to be their linebacking coach. Antonio Pierce was the defensive coordinator, I believe, at Arizona State with Herm Edwards, and he is also was an All-Pro, and I believe he was on the Giants championship team, one of them. I'd have to look that up to be certain. And most commonly known in Raider Nation, for referring to the Raiders as a scrimmage, not a game, but a scrimmage. Just a reminder of how bad things have been. Yes, he was definitely, because Herm don't play no games. Herm don't play no games at all. Let's fix that screen doing some weird stuff. Staff in place. What's the next step for new staff? Evaluation. Once you get everybody in place, and in terms of who's going to be around, who's going to be coaching, determine what the plan is moving forward, and then everybody plays their position and goes out and performs their role. So you got free agency coming up in March 18th, so you're looking at just under a month, or just over a month. Not even really 30 days, because there's only 16 more days left in the month. 17. So that's with that. I think so. Antonio Pierce was a badass linebacker, straight up. Like he was one of those big thumpers that would hit you. He could cover the pass. He could blitz a little bit. He could do it all. And he was real good in Washington and New York. And so that type of edge and attitude is something that I definitely like in terms of coming on in pickups. And so, without further ado,
Take my ass and everything.
Stephen Michaels.
All right. So
Said he
yeah,
might not look like much, but he's the best in the business, everybody.
Oh yeah, I'm awesome. So yeah, I tried to do it on my computer. Would not let me do it. So hopefully it sounds okay.
No, you're good. You're good
Good.
and right in time. So Antonio Pierce, the latest acquisition for the Raiders coaching staff.
What do you think?
I like it. I like the attitude. I like the edge. I like the physicality. He did a little bit of everything when he was playing, so I expect him to bring that to this linebacking group. And I don't expect to see a lot of undersized guys. I just expect to see a lot of more freakish athletes out there, which is what we need.
Yeah. Well, the Raiders, as far as players, they need a whole bunch of work done on that team. I mean, coaches, I think they're fine. If you think about the offense, Josh McDaniels is going to be running that offense, right? So then you got Patrick Graham, who's pretty much going to be running the defense. You know what I mean? He has help, obviously, with Rob Ryan and everything, but it's his defense. So he has to get the right players to fit whatever kind of scheme he's going to do, and he's going to adjust the scheme to the players. I do know that. So everyone's got to get over to 3-4 type bullshit, because really every NFL defense is in the same kind of pack. You know what I mean? Like they're all coming out of a nickel, basically. So it doesn't really matter either way. Max Crosby's still going to have his, be in a 3-point stance. Not going to change anything. But what it is good for is guys like Malcolm Kuntz. This is a guy who can stand up now next to Max Crosby and just rush the passer, because that's kind of shit Patrick Graham does on defense. So there's going to be a lot more pressure as far as the defense, and that's good. But they got to get the right personnel, the right players, I should say, surrounding everyone, because they do need – I know they won 10 games and everything, but they need more talent if you're going to go over the hump. You need wide receivers, obviously. All they have right now is Brian Edwards and Hunter Renfrow. That's pretty much all they have. I mean, I don't see them keeping Zay Jones. Even if they did, he's not gonna. What's he gonna be, the 5th, 6th wide receiver? So you need another running back. You need a bunch of offensive linemen. You got a quarterback, Phil's favorite. So, yeah. So you have Derek. Hopefully, Derek Carr can just learn this system, which shouldn't be that hard since Mac Jones did it in his rookie season. So if Mac Jones can do it in his rookie season, I'm sure Derek Carr, who's been playing for 1,000 years, can pick up this system, and he'll probably do pretty good in the system too. You know what I mean? It's just getting the ball out of his hands quickly, and they're going to let him, take shots down the field. That's why I think they need a fast wide receiver. You last season when Henry Ruggs decided to go be a crazy person, I mean, you could tell that took away a lot from that offense. Not having that guy burning down the field, taking the top off. It's you need that fast guy. Hopefully they can find a guy though that can actually, because Henry Ruggs, you got to remember, he's really fast and everything. He was really fast, but he sucks at route running. So now maybe they can find a guy who's fast and he's good at route running, and then you can have a number one wide receiver. Maybe they get that in a draft.
So, what do you think about Christian Kirk?
I don't know. I think it's I don't know. I don't know if first of all if he's gonna even be around.
He's a free agent. He's a free agent, and they seem to have some turmoil in Arizona and a quarterback that wants to get paid a lot more than what he's worth. Because I wouldn't pay his ass 50 to 55 million. I don't care what the going rate is.
Yeah, I mean, he's good. I don't see the Raiders paying a guy like Davante Adams. You know what I mean? Like I just don't see that happening. I'm sure Derek Carr would want that to happen, but I don't see it happening. Market value is like $28 million a year or something like that. That's crazy.
So it's funny that you say that, because you look in different places and different places will have different things. So I went to Over the Cap and did this valuation option that they had, and what his average ended up being was 24 million. He got as high in a couple weeks, because they break it down on a week by week basis based off his production. So in the first 3 weeks of the season, he was coming in steady at about 34 million a year. And then towards the end, he had, I think it was like 4 out of the last 5 or 6 weeks where he was valued at right around the 20 million mark, and sometimes less. And then you go to Spot Track, and Spot Track will tell you he's worth 36 million a year on a 4-year, $144 million contract. And I thought that shit was crazy. I was like, I don't know what the fuck they even looking at.
Yeah,
that's
but
insane.
Remember, these guys always it's like Nelson Aguilar last season. Remember, there was big numbers being floated out, but Patriots did overpay him, but they didn't give him $28 million a season. So it's all going to depend what he actually gets too. You know what I mean? Like, this is just people speculating on what team is going to want to pay that much money for Davante Adams is the question. Now, if let's say he went down to 14 million, right? Let's just pretend. Then I think the Raiders might be interested, because Derek Carr would be like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, I have good chemistry with them. Then it's more realistic. Right. But I just don't see them paying, $25 million a season for Davante Adams, who, I mean, he's a good wide receiver, but I mean, I don't think he's the best wide receiver in football. No. You know what I mean? Like,
not that effect.
No, I mean, I would pay that for what's the guy who punches his pregnant girlfriend there in the Chiefs? Tyreek Hill. I would pay that for that dude. You know what I mean? Because that guy is fast as hell. He's always open. You know what I mean? He's worth it. But other than him, I don't know any other wide receivers that I would be willing to pay that much. And with this draft, with so many wide receivers, the Raiders they can get a couple guys that are really good, go to free agency, get a couple guys that are, you know what I mean? They're on crappy teams, but have pretty good numbers. But you always got to remember, this is what I think about free agency, especially with wide receivers. You got to look at that team and look at who their quarterback was. You know what I mean? So who's throwing them the football? So if a guy has, let's say, 400, 500 yards, right? You're like, oh, that's not that great. But then you got to take in consideration who's throwing him the football. Some scrub who's not very good that can't get the ball to him. Now you put him in a team that, someone can get the ball to him. He's going to get a lot more yardage. He's going to look a lot more better. So that's why I think they're going to go out and get guys, from, the Jets, like bad teams that don't have like a great quarterback, guys that are being underutilized. They come to the Raiders, and the Raiders have been good at that. They got Michael Crabtree. Remember, he was, people thought it was the end for that dude. He comes to the Raiders and he balls out. You know what I mean? Crabtree was awesome. People forget how good of a year that dude had. That guy was like, he caught everything. He caught everything. And then like Jared Cook. Look at Jared Cook. The Raiders they bring him in. That dude had a monster season. I wish the Raiders could have kept him. Imagine that, Jared Cook and Darren Waller. And it's, you know what I mean? Like right now. Come on, there would be
Whew.
But that's gonna be another interesting thing with Josh McDaniels. Like, you got Darren Waller. He likes to use a lot of two tight ends sometimes. Like, do you stick with Foster Moreau or do you go get more of a catching tight end? Even though I think Foster Moreau is pretty good.
I think you feed Foster Moreau. I think actually, if you want to, in terms of route running and having solid hands, he's probably another one of the most underutilized receivers on this team. Yes, he's the tight end, but every time you throw something to him, he's catching it. He's catching sideline grabs in the red zone. I think a lot of the talent on this team was supremely misused. And we talk about Ruggs as route running, but I didn't ever see anybody ask him to run a slant. No.
They had him do go routes. Go route.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to run it's pretty hard to have successful route running when everybody knows you're only running one of two routes, a go route, a post, or an over.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure there's a reason for that. The reason was because he sucks at route running. You know what I mean? Like, otherwise, they would probably have him do slants and things. I mean, John Gruden was a coach. This guy loves slants. So, I mean,
nobody ran him. Does he really? Because nobody ran him.
Hunter Renfrow ran some. He ran some.
Yeah, but he was the only person that ran him. Nobody else did.
I think they tried. It's just not that good. Like Zay Jones, I've seen, run a few times, doing a slant. But yeah, they need wide receivers. I know like Raider fans are all worried about this Derek Carr situation, this whole Derek Carr thing. But don't worry about Derek Carr. Worry about the wide receivers because you can win games with Derek Carr. Yes, he has a problem being consistent. Everyone knows that. But
no anticipation either.
Yeah, I mean, but you can still win games with him if you put him with good talent. We've seen it before, so surround the dude with really good weapons, put some really good wide receivers out there. They also got to work on the running back situation because Josh Jacobs is injured pretty much every single season. I would like them to bring in another, imagine they can get like a Leonard Fournette or someone like that, some vet running back that's bigger to help. So when Jacobs goes down, then you got a big two-headed monster there. And then, of course, you're going to need another running back because Jalen Richard's a free agent. I don't know if the Raiders are going to bring him back. They don't use him that much, but they could.
He would fit in. I would think that he would fit in well with McDaniel's system as a walking running back and one who can slip. James White type.
Yeah, but they can also can't they just go get James White?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a free agent, isn't he?
He could be. I'd have to look that up.
I'm pretty sure he is. I have a feeling he's gonna, the free agents on the Patriots are gonna move to the Raiders.
All come over.
Yeah, not all of them, but a lot of them. You know what I mean? I mean, look at the coaching staff. So I just think the guys he likes, he's gonna go get. But remember, this general manager. I mean, I can only base off what he's done in the past. He's not a guy who spends a ton of money in free agency. I hope that kind of changes because the Raiders, I mean, we just watched the Rams win a Super Bowl, and what do? They built an all-star team, basically, in free agency. So, and then a year before that, Tampa Bay did it. You know what I mean? But the only
Mm-hmm.
problem with that formula is it only works for about 2 years. You best win a Super Bowl within 2 years, or you're pretty much back to square one, rebuilding and all of that nonsense if you go spend everything on these top tier players. But if I'm Mark Davis and I have Vegas, I have this brand new stadium, I go spend crazy amount of money to go bring in everyone. But I just don't know if this general manager will do that. I hope he does. I hope he has a different approach than he did in New England. He doesn't have Belichick anymore, telling them what to do and all that shit. So I think it's just they need so much help. You know what I mean? They're going to need defensive tackles. They're not going to be able to sign every single one of those guys back. A lot of those players on defense are going to go with Gus Bradley to Indianapolis. So you need a linebacker. You definitely need cornerbacks and defensive backs. I mean, they don't have any. Seriously, so
No.
they got a lot of needs to fill, but they can do that in free agency and in the draft, in my opinion.
Yes, and I think that's the one thing that we all as Raider fans all have to look at is that this isn't the same front office. These aren't the same scouts. These aren't the same people drafting. Like these people are proven in the draft to go out and get talent late in the draft, early in the draft, and use their draft picks to trade and get guys that they wouldn't normally get. And I want to know who's really been the guys that's been making the calls and getting players traded to the Patriots, because you've seen star after star get traded to the Patriots for nothing. If Ziegler can do a fraction of that with the Raiders, we'll be sitting pretty quick here.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, is like they weren't far off last year. They just got to build upon what they have. You know what I mean? Like if you I would like Nicholas Morrow to come back since the guy got injured, didn't even play at all. He should come back. I think he owes it to the team to come back. Yeah, at least sign a 1-year deal so we could see if this guy has any talent at all. Because this was the year we were supposed to find out, and then he gets injured.
Do
So
they want him back? I mean, it's not the same team he's coming back to.
I know that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? We're not going to know until 2 weeks, what they do with these guys. Some guys are free agents. They can, they'll be talking to this week, so asking them if they want to come back or not. But there's not like a ton of guys on their free agent list that you look at and say, oh, they have to bring back this guy. They have. I mean, okay, there's
No.
Casey Hayward Jr. He's 40 years old.
Yep.
He's likely going to go with
Bradley.
the Colts. Yeah, I mean, and unless something crazy happens, you know what I mean, and he decides to stay, he's probably going to go with Bradley.
Yeah, they'd have to pay him. That would be the only reason that he wouldn't go with Bradley was because they paid him.
Yeah, and what do you pay a guy that I don't know how old he is, but he's pretty old. He's been in the NFL.
34 this year. He's 33 right now, but at some point during the season, he'll be 34. I mean, he's a 34-year-old zone corner, and an off zone corner at that. So I mean, you could find, you would want to believe that you'd be able to find a guy in the draft who could do what he does for a fraction of that.
Yeah, I think they can. And plus free agency too, you're going to be able to find guys, here and there. And they'll have money, despite Derek Carr's extension, which, by the way, as of right now, he has not. He hasn't even accepted the offer yet. So we don't know. What if Derek Carr says no to it? I mean, I doubt he will. But
what is the offer?
What?
What is the offer?
It's I don't know. I think it's like 54 million up front guaranteed cash. Yeah, and but I just know the guaranteed money was like 54 million.
54 million. That would break 20. That breaks down to 27 a year. 2 years.
Yeah, I thought it was. For some reason, I thought it was 28 million.
That'd be 56. They guarantee the first 2 years or first year and a half. Cut his salary down as much as possible so you can give all his money to my best friend.
Yeah. And also, too, another important point I should make. Even, okay, let's say Derek Carr signs his extension. So even if he signs, oh, speaking of the devil, even if he signs this extension, either way, next season, there's a chance he restructures that contract. You get it? So, like, he's done it before. So he'll get paid, but
So
then he'll
okay, so basically he's gonna do this. They're gonna string him along and do the same thing they kind of did with Brady, where they keep kicking his salary down the road and his cap hit
yeah.
getting smaller, but he keeps getting signing bonuses of some kind, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Right.
he's getting upfront cash too, remember.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be fine, basically, but he's gonna have to he's going to restructure next season, and then when his new contract comes in effect, they'll
Mm-hmm.
restructure, they'll free up money, they'll do it again. You know what I mean? Like they'll
Mm-hmm.
give they'll give him some upfront money for restructuring. It's
Right.
all those games they're gonna play for the next couple of seasons, but he's still gonna get paid a lot. You know what I
Right.
mean? But these guys, it's really weird because I've been covering the Raiders for a long time and they're very dysfunctional. Right now, I've never seen them being so like a real organization.
Functional.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they're very functional.
Things
Like
make
I don't have.
sense. Efficient.
Yeah, you know things are working out when I don't have to text a single some dude in the building and he tells me something. Now I can't do that anymore. You know what I mean? I
Damn.
have to like do work and shit. So like, yeah, but I mean, I guess it's a good thing for the fans, but it sucks for me. But yeah. So they are way more functional than they've been probably ever, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like they have a real general manager in there since Reggie McKenzie. But even with Reggie McKenzie in there, you still had I don't know, you had some pretty bad scouts. You had his
Yeah.
brother there. You know what I mean? Like now you have a guy who's coming in, no ties. You know what I mean? Just business. It's going to do business as they do it here in New England, and bring it to Vegas and see if it works. You know what I mean? The question is Josh McDaniels, is he the right guy? Is he the right coach? You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, they're tied or to the hip, those two, Ziegler and McDaniels. In 2 years, if Josh McDaniels, let's say he wins 4 games next year and 5 games the year after, I guarantee you that this guy will just fire him and go get another coach, and he'll
Mm-hmm.
remain the GM.
Yep.
So Josh McDaniels has the most to prove here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has to prove that he's not the same guy in Denver. You know what I mean? Like the hire, to me, when it first happened, I didn't like it because Josh McDaniels to me is pretty odd looking, and I just think he's I don't know, he's kind of an asshole. He got caught cheating in Denver once, which I guess wouldn't be so bad for Raider fans because
Nope.
I think let's take the cheating. You know what I mean? Everyone else does it. So yeah. So hopefully his system will work with Derek Carr, and hopefully he's not the same guy he was in Denver. And he's got smart people around him too. That's the good thing. Patrick Graham's a really good defensive coordinator. People sleep on this guy, but remember, the Giants hired a new head coach, and this guy was like, "Oh, I'm keeping this dude." You know what I mean? I'm keeping him. He didn't even know. The Raiders just called out of nowhere and said, "Hey, can we come here?" That happened so fast. Boom, they get the guy. So, I mean, obviously this guy was, players like him or the new coach wouldn't be keeping leftovers from a staff. That never happens usually. You know what I mean? Especially at a defensive coordinator or something like that, offensive coordinator. So that's the good news. Hopefully McDaniels can drop some plays. Hopefully he's more aggressive in the red zone, better play calling in the red zone on offense because the Raiders were absolutely terrible in the red zone last season. And then the defense has to get better in the red zone as well.
Well, McDaniels had the Pats offense at seventh in the red zone with a rookie quarterback. In terms of the personnel, I just think that the personnel is a natural fit for what he likes to do, and wouldn't need that much of an adjustment in order to acclimate themselves to his concepts and what they do. I think having easier names, smaller, better, simpler names for the play calling might help people remember what they're supposed to be doing and where they're supposed to be. And the play calling was just awful last year. It was really, really bad. And you should see a lot more creative play calling, a lot more designs that are going to get guys open in space. It'll be a more modern look for this offense. I know we that's what we were told we were going to get with Gruden, but then he just went back to running his particular set of plays that he liked and trotting that out there. All in all, I think that this whole coaching staff is set up in a really great way. Like you said, it's been competent, it's been logical, it's made sense, and it's efficient, and they look to be taking. It's well run. I think that's really the phrase we're looking for. It's well run.
Yeah, and Josh McDaniels also, he's John Gruden, he's running plays from 1998 over there. Josh McDaniels is going to be a little bit more creative, and I just think they're gonna score more points, with Josh McDaniels, and that what I think could be the best thing for this team. They got to score points. They got to make sure that defense is, at, at least as good or better than what they just had, or then it's going to be a shit show. Then we have every game coming down to a field goal. I don't like that. You know what I mean? I haven't seen the Raiders actually like blow out a team, like not have to worry about anything in a long time. The
Yeah,
closest they came was that Denver game, where they had that in hand. But I mean, I'm talking like, how Patriots beat these teams. It's like 50-3 at
yeah,
halftime. That's what I want to see out of the Raiders. I want to see them be more aggressive and keep, you put on the gas, keep it going, just keep hammering them. Josh McDaniels has no problem running up the score. That's what I want to see out of this team. They got to be more aggressive. They got to get the ball down the field. And they got to, like I said, they got to get a better running game going. Because last season, their running game, I mean, it sucked. You got Peyton Barber doesn't do much. Josh Jacobs he came along at the end of the season, but he was hurt most of the time. You don't really have anyone. They got to bring in other running backs, and they got to fix the offensive line. And the best news out of all this is the draft will be much better because it
yeah.
can't get any worse than it was.
In 2020.
No, Alex Leatherwood. You got Damon Arnett. I mean, come on. What's going on around here? I know that's your boy and everything, but I mean, Damon Arnett, dude. Damon Arnett. I don't know. I don't know why you like him so much, but he ain't good, man.
You can't fix stupid. You can't fix stupid.
But that is a badass gun.
Yeah, that was, I probably have that build on my Call of Duty character, to be honest with you. Wes, to answer your question, the number that I've set initially was 35. I think that a fair representation is probably going to be 32. And 32 is touchdowns. If he can't put up 32 touchdowns in this particular offense with a play caller who's going to be far less restrictive than his previous play callers, then he's not going to be around. It's not going to work. They made it work with a rookie quarterback. Mac Jones had 23 touchdowns last season. But if Carr's not throwing 30 touchdowns and his turnovers and turnover opportunities is back above 20 to 25 again, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, I honestly think that Derek Carr is going to be completely fine in this system. And like, I have big problems with Derek Carr with his being consistent. I mean, the guy, it's been, what? This is his 9th season. He plays good for 4 games. Yeah, he plays good for 4 games and shits the bed for 3. plays one good game, then sucks for two. It's getting old. So hopefully Josh McDaniels can dummy it down. First of all, he will. He won't have these John Gruden has a 52 Rocket, 72 Pennsylvania Avenue, 84 West Street, 89 42 Cindy Gruden 482. You know what I mean? Right. So much verbiage. It's I don't mean how Derek Carr remembers that shit. You know what I mean? That to me, that's more impressive than anything to remember all that.
Right.
So, it will be a lot more simpler. It will be a lot more easier. And I think they'll make Derek Carr more into a system quarterback that fits what Josh McDaniels wants to do, just like he just did with Mac Jones. Just like Mark Davis said at the press conference. The guy won 11 games or something like that with Matt Castle. So, I mean, Derek Carr is better than Matt Castle. So I'm expecting this guy to be consistent week to week. Now, if the Raiders, if this extension goes down, which it should, then this guy, it's Super Bowl or bust for this dude. No more excuses, right? Excuses already ran out for me anyways. He has not earned his contract, in my opinion. His first one he got, where he's the highest paid quarterback. He has not lived up to that contract. Now he's getting another contract. So he needs to live up to this contract, and that means winning a Super Bowl. And we just watched Sam Bradford, or whatever his name is.
Matt Stafford.
Yeah, Matt Stafford. To me, they're the same fucking guy. Sorry. But, we just watched this guy win a Super Bowl, right? He was with Detroit for 100 years. He had all these stats, blah, 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 blah. He finally won a Super Bowl. Why? Because they surrounded him with a bunch of weapons. That's all you have to do with Derek Carr. And hopefully we can get that out of Derek Carr by surrounding him with weapons, putting good, players in different pieces here or there. And then maybe he can thrive. But I'm telling you, dude, this guy got 3 more years before I lose it. And he's got to win. He's got to win. He hasn't won a playoff game yet.
3 more years before you lose it? You got to be more patient than Job, my man. 3 more years?
Listen, he's getting a contract extension. So I'm guessing he's going to play at least 2 years. You know what I mean? Right. I'm guessing. So by that second year, by year 2, this year, I still expect him to make the playoffs. They better make the playoffs.
They better.
I don't care if they have to retool. They don't like the word rebuilding, but they're putting different players in place. They still have a system. I've seen teams do it all the time. You know what I mean? They retool, guys leave, they bring different guys. The Rams just did what this season, brought in new guys, and then they go out and win. There's no reason why the Raiders cannot do that. There is no reason why this team cannot. They just won 10 games. They only won 10 games because they added a game, but still, they won 10 games. There's no reason with a special teams coordinator as a head coach. God bless his soul, but he's a special teams coordinator. You know what I mean? Right. I know fans, Raider fans on Twitter, they want to keep Richie Biscotta as their head coach. When has an interim head coach turned full-time head coach ever worked out? It never works out. It never works out. Plus, the dude is lost out there, if you can't tell. They spiked the ball against the Bengals for no reason and wasted it down. The communication was poor. Greg Olsen, to me, sucks. This is just my opinion, but he's terrible. Derek Carr, I think, is a good quarterback. He's not a top 5 quarterback. I wouldn't even say he's a top 10 quarterback. But if they put him in the right system, he has to win, and he has to do it now. You know what I mean? You're getting paid. You already got paid once. To me, you have to earn that contract. And I guess from everything he went through last season with all the drama, that's probably why. I know that's one of the reasons why that Mark Davis wanted to give him a contract anyways, because the guy did deal with a lot of shit last season. That's one thing you can't take away from him. He had to deal with a lot of bullshit. And imagine being that guy going out there week after week at the press conferences. You got guys killing people. You got guys with Terminator guns. You got guys getting DUIs. And every week You're the quarterback. You got to go out there and talk. I couldn't imagine. I would just quit as soon as Henry Ruggs, kill someone. I say, okay, I don't want to talk about this. You know what I mean? Like I'm bouncing. But yeah, I mean, so okay, fine. He gets his extension. Now it's time to show why you got an extension. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
now it's time you actually win. You went to the playoffs, but you failed once you got there. At least you got there, but you failed. You failed. To me, you're a loser. You failed. If you don't win a Super Bowl, you're a loser to me. So anyways, so this season, the Raiders got to make the I doubt they're going to win a Super Bowl, but who knows? Anything can happen when you get into the playoffs. But they got to get into the playoffs this season. And then the year following, I say Super Bowl or bust. Yes. Super Bowl.
Yeah, they got to be
bust.
all in when it's in Vegas. Absolutely. I think that
it's a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm.
I think that somehow, some way, I think this is the best way to say it. Somehow, some way, said the Raiders will be knocking on the door at the end of this year and ready to kick it in next year because, financial reasons, market reasons, it makes too much sense. And based off what the new trend of having the team that plays a Super Bowl in their own building win it would stand to reason 2024 is looking pretty good for your boys.
Yeah, and they're going to have money that off season too. The 20, you know what I mean?
Lots of it.
Yep. So I mean,
they're
that's
already they should be have hundreds 2024. Yeah, I was gonna say they should have over $100 million to get
they're gonna have plenty of money.
Lenny.
Plus with some of the contracts they have, they're gonna be able to get out of those contracts, save some money. You know what I mean? Like a whole bunch of stuff. So I mean, there's guys even this season, people forget there's a couple guys in that roster that they could be cut. You know what I mean? That guys that have big money that you think, no way the Raiders would cut this dude or whatever. But they could cut some guys that are good just to free up some money. I mean, Josh McDaniel, any head coach who gets a job wants it to be his team. Remember, John Gruden completely tore apart the roster when he came in. Maybe too much, but he completely tore it apart because he wanted it to be his team. Every coach does it. You know what I mean? Like, people don't want to hear it, but that's just the reality. These coaches have big egos. Yeah.
So not only that, but if it's my ass on the line and they're paying me a healthy sum of money to win, I'm making sure that I bring in the guys that I know can get it done, or my guys, instead of some holdovers that prove they can't.
Yeah, and you know what? To be honest, these guys who are already there obviously they haven't done anything. They got to the playoffs, but you obviously need to upgrade. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. You just can't. That's like the definition of insanity. You can't keep doing it. You can't, if it's not working out with this set of players, then you have to either they're good and they're just not being coached right. We've seen that a lot with former Raider players, draft picks that go elsewhere and all of a sudden they look good. You know what I mean? That tells me the coaching staff that was coaching them either didn't give them enough opportunities or they weren't coached well. So there's a lot better coaches now. The Raiders have probably the best coaching staff. Josh McDaniels to me is still TBD. I don't know. I really don't know how this guy's going to do. But everyone else, like, put Josh McDaniels aside, everyone else, they have like really good coaches in every spot, so there's no reason why this team can't go to the playoffs. There is no reason. And like I said, I really think they're going to surround Carr with some great weapons. And hopefully I'm more interested to see what they do with the defense. You know what I mean? Like, because there's going to be a lot of new guys in there. Think about it. I mean, they have no DBs, man. None. They really don't. Like, they have none. Like,
they got Abram, Gillespie, Morig, Hobbs, and Mullen. Maybe Robertson. I think he was a free agent too. Man,
I don't. But
I wouldn't keep him
even
anyway. But
yeah, I mean, he's not going to be on a team either way. And so, like, it doesn't even Mullen. I mean, like, should he be starting corner? You know what I mean? Like, that's the
if,
decision that the Raiders are going to make. You know, like,
if for nothing else, the depth has a depth piece, and for the contract, he's got to stay because you can't replace what
yeah, you're
well
not going to.
you could replace it because I mean the guy didn't finish the season last year, so anybody who could finish the season would be better at this point. But I mean, he's not a terrible corner.
No, they're not going to. He'll stay on the roster, but
Yeah,
will he be a starter? You know what I mean? That will be the. But I
we'll
mean,
have to
think
earn
about
it.
it. They have to get better in that. I mean, they had True Font out there. I mean, Jesus, they had so many terrible players. You know, I mean, and then people wonder why Travis Kelce's open every play. It's because these guys can't cover him. And then
They got
even Abram, I mean, the guy runs his mouth so much. I wish he would just play instead of running his mouth because the guy gets burned in coverage way too much. You know what I mean? Like he can't cover anyone. Nate Hobbs, I think can be really good. Hopefully he can stay out of trouble. But he can be really good. I think they're gonna blitz him a lot too. Because how they're gonna do it when they do their 3-4s is they're gonna have two guys standing up on each side. So they'll have
right.
Crosby, with his hand in the grass, and two guys on each side that can either blitz or back up. So that brings a different element because Gus Bradley never blitzed. And it used to drive me crazy because I don't know if you remember that Chiefs game. They blitzed a couple times and they had a lot of success blitzing, and then they just kind of bailed out. They stopped blitzing. They played their zone coverage, and Travis Kelce's open every single play. And then all
Right.
of a sudden, you got some corner, some 80-year-old cornerback over there, and all I do is have him chase Hill. So they can't have that. They need to get speed. They got to build that defense on speed if they want to compete in the AFC West, because that's all it is. The Chargers have speed. The Chiefs have speed. So they need to build speed. They got to get speed on that defense and then go from there.
Absolutely, because in looking at the way you can only play zone against the Chiefs for so long before they find a way to run a guy off in some weird way and get him lined up to a horizontal foot race that ends up getting turned up the field for 6 points. To beat them, you got to be able to get up on them and stop them at the line of scrimmage, and then be able to turn and run.
You got to get pressure up the middle. Like you
And
need a good
definitely
a
got to
nose
do that.
tackle and a defensive tackle to get right up there, make Patrick Mahomes, before he has a chance even to be running around. You have these guys penetrating out there, blowing up the running back, making him go outside. And if you have a guy who's really, let's say a Max Crosby, who can get free, then boom, then you have three guys collapsing on him. And that's usually when Patrick Mahomes makes a mistake, trying to throw one of those weird footballs. Sometimes, Tyreek Hill will catch because no one's looking, but a lot of times he'll throw an interception there. Or if he gets hit, he'll fumble there. You know what I mean? Like we've seen Buffalo, get after him. Like
Yes.
you can get after this guy if you have a good interior rush. And if they get after him, if they hit him, I'm telling you, it takes Patrick Mahomes off of his game totally. But then they got to worry about the Chargers because Justin Herbert is awesome. They're just gonna keep getting better. So the Raiders are, in my opinion, the AFC West is without a doubt the toughest division in football. Without a
Yes.
doubt. I mean, Chargers, Broncos, even the Broncos. You know what I mean? Like they may not be like the greatest team in the world, but any given
They're not
Sunday,
far
that team.
off. They're not far
No,
off. They need a better
no,
offensive plan and some quarterback execution, and the Broncos will be every bit as formidable as the other two teams in the division.
and any given Sunday, that team can win a game. You know what I mean? They can beat any team in the NFL.
They beat the
They've
shit
shown
out of
that.
the Cowboys.
Yeah, they can beat anyone. Sometimes they'll lose a stupid game against a bad team, but next week they'll follow up and they'll beat like the Cowboys or something. You know what I mean? Like that's just how the Broncos operate. But they're gonna get better too. So the Raiders, they have to get better. They have to. So I hope this extension with Derek Carr, I mean, I hope it works out. I mean, I really do. Uh,
It should.
some
It'll
people call
help.
me
Yeah,
they
it'll
call
help.
me a hater. They call me a hater on the internets there.
A
About Derek
lover,
Carr.
lover of
Yeah,
Carr.
I'm not a hater. I want the guy to win. You know what I mean? Because when the Raiders win, I win. You know what I
We.
mean? Yeah, like it's better for me when the Raiders win. So I want Derek Carr to be very successful and win. His brothers are very annoying, but I don't
Very.
care. I really don't care about what he does, whatever. The only thing I care about is on Sunday or whatever day they play football that this guy is consistent and he can score touchdowns and lead
Most.
this team to wins. The only thing I care about. I don't care about him being a minister or pastor or whatever the hell the guy does. I just want him to be a good quarterback. That's the only thing I want. I don't think that makes me a hater, does it?
I would hope
I,
not.
I mean, I
I
just
just,
want.
hey, it's just win, baby, not preach, baby.
I know. I just want the team to win. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I just want the guy to win. So, like, win. That's all. Just win these games.
At this point, I don't care which one it is, Tony, as long as it gets done. If he's good enough to carry the team, he needs to be coddled and carried. However, it works out that the Raiders win, get to the playoffs, and hoist that trophy, and we get back to prominence. I don't care what it is. I just want to see some damn winning.
A lot of it. And
A
no,
lot of it.
I don't think Derek Carr is good enough to carry a team, but that's just my opinion.
I
He needs weapons. He's good enough
way
when he
too
has
much.
weapons. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I mean,
But
he's shown that he can.
every quarterback is invincible with time. I mean, they're professionals, for crying out loud.
Yeah, yeah.
If you give a guy all day to throw at this level, he damn sure better be carving you up. Even the backups can carve somebody up when they got some time. Like, to your point, what you were saying about Patrick Mahomes, statistically, in terms of turnovers, fumbles, he's had his worst season. And now that he's been in the league for a couple of years, the tape is out on him. You can start to see the things that he doesn't do well. And improvisation may be his greatest asset, but running the design play is also his greatest weakness.
Yeah, I mean, but the Chiefs are like, I mean, honestly, like they don't need an offensive coordinator. They don't. I mean, the guy just plays backyard football. You know what I mean? He's running around out there. Just the thing about the Chiefs is like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, all those guys, Harmon, all those guys. They don't stop. I noticed with the Raiders, like when Derek Carr gets in trouble, and let's say he has to like scramble to the right, a lot of them just stop running. And they shouldn't do that. Like when you
No,
watch Kansas City, those guys are just
coming back
continuing to
to the
battle.
ball. Yeah.
Yeah, continuing to battle to get open because they know that ball could possibly be in the air in their hands in a matter of a tenth of a second. And I noticed that a lot with the Raiders. I seen that with Zay Jones, where like he's just looking back at Derek Carr, like Derek Carr's running for his life to the side. How do you know he's not going to throw it across his body, even though you're not supposed to do that? Patrick Mahomes does it all the time. How do you know he's not going to do that? You got to
That's
be ready. That's why the Raiders need fast wide receivers. I think that would help out Carr a lot. And like I said, they already have Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow, in my opinion, is probably the best slot wide receiver in football. The guy's amazing. So, like, you got this dude. You bring in another fast guy. You got to bring in at least two wide receivers to go along with Renfrow. You got Brian Edwards, who's decent. Maybe he gets even better this season, as we go on. So
so.
I think they'll be
I got a
fine
question
with
for
that.
you, real quick. Is Hunter Renfro good enough to be your number one? Because there's this opinion that your slot receiver can't be your number one guy, but the production is there, and in McDaniel's offense, the targets will be too. Can Hunter be your number one
Well,
guy?
he's going to be the number one guy because it's Josh McDaniels' offense. If you watch all these Patriot teams, I mean, back to Wes Welker, you know what I mean? Like these guys are
Mhm.
always the first guy. I mean, they may not be labeled. Josh McDaniels usually does not label a number one, a number two, a number three. You know what I mean? Like, so he just has guys out there. But the slot wide receiver is very important in his offense. And I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if they get another slot wide receiver to go along with Hunter Renfrow. So then you have two sets of slot wide receivers, and you have two guys on the outside when they go spread. And then you have, one fast guy, one possession guy, and two little fast dudes, Maybe they find a little white guy somewhere in Oregon or something. You know what I mean? And like they're just running all over the place. And it works. You know what I mean? Look at Hunter Renfrow. That guy does not look like he's a football player, right?
Sure doesn't.
But it looks like I went on the field and started catching passes. But for some reason, this guy is unstoppable. You know what I mean? Like he is really, really good. Hunter Renfrow is, without a shadow of a doubt, number one wide receiver, in my opinion, without a shadow of a doubt. But he can't just do it all by himself. You know what I mean? And if you have a guy, on your left side that's very fast, like they had when Henry Ruggs was there, taking the top off, it's just going to help out Hunter Renfrow, because then you either have to double Renfrow, right? Or you got that fast guy streaking down the sidelines that Derek Carr can throw to. Hopefully it doesn't overthrow him, but he has that guy right there. So you provide that mismatch right there, where Hunter Renfrow being such a good slot wide receiver, teams have to, especially now, teams are going to have to prepare for him every week. And that's why it's so important they bring in at least two guys, one very fast wide receiver, because it's going to open up a lot of possibilities. And you got to pick your poison, basically. You double Hunter Renfrow, but then you got Darren Waller right there, too. My only problem with Darren Waller is he started dropping a lot of passes towards the end of the season. I'm hoping it's just like injury related, but
he was dropping a lot of passes at the beginning of the season. That's one of the things that I kept an eye on all season long, was the fact that for whatever reason, the two of them were just not in sync. Passes that should have been caught got dropped.
Right in his hands too, though. They're like right in his hands. Like there's no excuse. Derek Carr sometimes throws a shitty ball, but these passes are like right in his hands, and he's just dropping it.
They credited him for 5 drops all season, and I was like, he had 5 drops on Monday night in Vegas. I was there. I watched it.
He had way more than 5 drops, dude.
Way more than 5 drops.
I think he had 5 drops in one game.
Yeah, in the first game. In the first, he had 5. They targeted him 20 times. He caught 10. He put 5 on the turf, and before halftime, I was like, what is he doing?
Jesus. Did the Raiders win that game, by the way?
They did. It was against the Ravens.
Okay.
The first overtime game.
And you went to that game?
Yeah, I was in Vegas for that.
Okay. Well, okay. I just wanted to make sure you're allowed to go to Raider games.
I am.
You're allowed to go.
I'm vaccinated. Card carrying member.
No. No. I mean, if the Raiders lost that game, you would not be allowed to go, because you're bringing bad voodoo to the game.
Well, oh no! When I show up, they win. I'm good luck. So everybody in the comment section, if you want the Raiders to win, I need black hole tickets up close so that they can hear me yell at them, and I will gladly sit next to you and coach the team into victory from the sidelines, from the end zone line.
Hey Phil, you know what? I have never, 6 games, never seen the Raiders lose. Never.
Well, it sounds like you also need to be in attendance a lot more too.
It's only because I registered for the media there, for the 2016 season, and they just happened to win all those games, and I didn't go to the Denver game. You know what I mean? So I got to see them win every game, basically. So yeah, and I went to one the year before where they won. So I'm undefeated every time I show up. I'm undefeated.
You got to show up more.
I know, but it's in Vegas, and I don't like Vegas. Not a fan.
I'll take those 2 as a donation. I can't pay for them, but I'll take them.
Yeah, right.
But so we're about an hour in, Steven. That's pretty much all I had in terms of what we got going on. Is there anything breaking or hasn't been said that's going on that is going to be some news coming up pretty soon here?
Oh, I not currently, but you never know. Any minute something could happen. Any minute, just the way the shit works. Something could happen within the next 30 minutes. You just never know. You know what I mean? Like they still got I think they still got one more assistant coach they're hiring. And then, of course, the Derek Carr stuff. And then next week, that's when, they're going to determine which players they want to keep and who they don't and all that shit. So we'll hear some stuff about that. And then obviously the following days, that's when stuff goes crazy.
When's the deadline for re-signing their own? I don't think there's anybody that they should be tagging. So I don't think they're going to use a franchise tag.
No, they don't need to use that till next year.
Right. Or could they tag? I was going to say, can they tag Hunter or Max? I wouldn't tag either one of them actually.
But that would be next year, wouldn't it?
That would be next year. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Just want to.
Pretty sure that would be next year. One of them's going to get tagged for a year.
So will Max hold out?
No, he's not holding. He needs his sneakers and shit.
Nah, that's real. Yeah, he definitely does. And that orange Porsche, got to keep the gas in that bitch.
And his pit bulls and his.
He's good.
Okay,
good looking dogs. Got good looking dogs.
Yeah. Good guy.
Right.
Yeah. So thanks, Phil. Like I said, watch out for Raider news because, like I said, Derek Carr. I know for a fact they're talking extension, and I know for a fact the agent is around. So that could happen literally at any time. No one knows when this stuff is going to happen. It just happens, So the deal for this dude, Derek Carr. So it could happen within 5 minutes, or it could happen tomorrow. But just saying, watch out for that. And that's it. And everyone can. Oh, and I'll be doing a public podcast this week at some point. I'm probably going to wait till after Derek Carr signs the extension. So probably by Friday, I think I'll do it. Mm-hmm. And then that's it. I'll hope you guys have fun. Oh, and congratulations, Phil, for getting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Man, you remember those days when you were talking shit about me only having like 5 views?
How many? Well, you still get like 5 views, but still 1,000 subscribers.
Hey, you got to start somewhere, right?
If I care about subscribers, I fucking hate YouTube and I hate Google. They don't pay me, so why would I tell anyone to subscribe to my channel? I only post it up there just so people will listen to it on Spotify. I don't even know why do people listen to my show on YouTube to begin with? It's weird. They're staring at a screen. I don't get it, but I upload it for them because it's like over 1,000 people. So I feel bad not uploading it for them. Like, it's like, well, that's how they want to listen to the show. You know what I mean? Like, so I guess I'll upload it and I get to make a little graphic and stuff, so whatever. But anyways, very proud. I know you guys really want 1,000 subscribers, whatever the hell it is. So good job. You did it, Phil.
Yes, we did it. Appreciate you, Steven. Thank you for coming on.
No problem.
All right, everybody. We've hit the end of the show. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.